Good evening and welcome to the Look Finance SEQFC preview show with thanks to Vilic Law. Obviously this evening football's wrapped up for quite a few competitions, but we're going to give you something a little bit special rolling into the back end of the year. Tonight, obviously, we're just going to cover the FQPL competition and talk through the semi-finals. Only 2 games this weekend, but 2 very exciting games from 4 great clubs. This evening, I have Lliam joining me as usual. Lliam, how are you, mate?
G'day, Joe. How are you, mate? How are you, boys? Good to see you again for another week.
Oh, absolutely. And luckily, I got Darren stepping in. Great to see you, mate. Obviously, host of some of the other shows here and general great media personality throughout the area. Darren, how are you, mate?
Joey, you and I in the same room together. It's weird, isn't it?
It's good. It's good. I like your company, mate. It's we don't get a lot of screen time together, but it's always a pleasure.
Definitely. You've done a great job this year too, mate.
Oh, thanks, mate. A lot of help from yourself and a lot of mentoring, so I appreciate it, mate. But enough about us, and obviously our special guest, Daniel, head coach of Mitchelton FC. Hey, mate, how are you?
And I'm sick of feeling so good.
Sick of feeling so good. It's been one of those years. Fantastic. I know this evening you mentioned, obviously, you couldn't see the big game in the other competition. What were you up to? I think showing a bit of the future ahead of us. What were you doing?
We had a lot of our trials on tonight, so they're running all week. So I was overseeing with the 23s coach our 23 say boys or men's trials, and considering all factors with graduations and some formals and stuff on tonight. We had a really good turnout actually, and there's still 20 more to come tomorrow. So we had over 100 players register interest for our senior teams to trial. So that's a record number for us.
That's fantastic to hear. Obviously, that was something we touched on last time you were on the show, so it's great to hear plenty of interest coming through for the restructure for 2021 season.
Oh, definitely.
Fantastic. Well, on that, let's... sorry, Darren.
How many do you take out of those 100, Dan?
Well, we have... If I'm honest with you, we have less than 10 spots available between 3 teams. So work the numbers out. We retained a lot of our players. So a lot of the 18s went up to 23s, and quite a number of 23s are being retained. And then the 16s, a number of them got retained. And then we've got some of our players who went to NPL clubs last year who have returned as well. So yeah, there's a lot of interest, but there's only a certain number of spots for this year, so it should be good for us.
Fantastic to hear. Rolling into that, we might talk about the first fixture. We'll stay away from yourself, Daniel, obviously, to start off. First game, obviously, 6:30 is Logan Lightning taking on Wolves. That's at Cornubia. So interesting game here. I think one of the numbers I looked at coming through, obviously they're quite a strong defensive record. Logan have only conceded 19 goals out of 20 games, so an average of less than a goal a game conceded. Daniel, you've played them a few times. Are they the best defensive team in the competition? Do you think they'll win off that through this final series if they do go the whole way?
Look, I would probably agree with you that they are the best defensive team in the competition, but that's not necessarily what wins semi-finals. So I think that Logan, they're a premium side. They've done really well, but their goal this year they've achieved, and I think it'd be icing on the cake. But I'm not sure if it's their cup of tea to put everything in this weekend. I'm sure they'll do well, but I think Wolves would probably be the hungrier of the two sides personally.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously carrying quite fine form into these final series in the back half of the season. Lliam, I know it's not quite your expertise. What's your thought on this fixture?
Logan and Wolves, yeah. Look, just going by what Danny said there, Logan have the pressure's off for them now. I think they've achieved what they wanted to achieve. I think anything else that comes along now is just a bit of a bonus. So, look, but having said that, I think because the pressure will be off, I think Logan will certainly be putting the pressure on Wolves. Wolves have had a great back end of the season. Of course, they've played so well, haven't they? But look, I still think Logan will get over Wolves. I think they'll be too strong. I think now that the pressure's off, I think they'll be more relaxed, and I think they'll play a lot more fluent football on is it Saturday night?
Saturday night, 6:30 at Cornubia.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I just think that because the pressure's off, they'll just play much better football now. I think towards the end of the regular season there, I think the pressure was really on, and they had a few results that didn't go their way, and of course, except for the 4-0 win against your team there, Danny. But I think without going around in circles, I think Logan will take it out quite easily.
Darren, you always have an eyesight on football throughout Queensland. I know we haven't had your opinion too much this year in terms of the FQPL and MPL. I'd really like to get your insight on this game. Do you have any tidbits or anything that you might know that we're not aware of?
Well, firstly, we need to congratulate Logan on finally getting over the hump. They've spent so many years coming so close. Rick Coughlin is part of our, the group that we have in our conversations about putting this show together. And we've actually put a little bit of pressure on him during these weeks, showing him the video last weekend of the Logan Mitchelton game 5 years ago when players leaving in ambulances. And, Logan knew that when they lost that prior game midweek, that going into that game against Mitchie, the pressure was on. Daniel, you must have noticed when their faces when they were walking on the field, they were bricking it, right?
Oh no! I think they were. I think they were pretty focused. The first goal that they scored from Pennisi, who actually, I don't think is available anymore. I think he's gone. And he was by far the best player on the park. There was him and then lightning between the necks, no pun intended. Once they got that first goal, it certainly settled the nerves. But when they got the second goal, it was pretty much all over, because there was a period there after the first goal, we had, probably a 15-minute spell. We had 4 chances in 15 minutes, and we started to have the ascendancy. And then then it was an error from us, and they got the second goal. So that definitely settled them, and they started to play. And then they come out the second half, like probably Lliam said, without as much pressure, even though 2-0 up. And look, they were sharp all over the park. We were comprehensively beaten that second half.
But that's when they were ahead. They knew that things were won.
Yeah.
That first goal, it must have been such a tension valve for them.
Oh, you can see it. It was a huge relief for them. They hit the bar before that, and I think that they must have thought, oh shit, hopefully it's not going to be one of those nights. And remember, against Rochedale, they probably had 60-70% of the possession, but Rochedale scored first, and then they scored a late goal. So if we happened to have scored an early goal, it obviously would have been a different game. But we didn't, and they did, and it changed the makeup of the game. So yeah, look, they had, that was probably their most polished, comprehensive performance that I've seen. Not because they beat us, but just the way they defended and pressed the whole game. It was a NPL worthy performance. They did very well.
All right, so
at the end of the day, they had to win. They deserve it.
Yeah, I was talking to Rick today, and they were so overjoyed at getting that title, finally getting over that hump. I expect them to do fantastically well in the NPL next year. Now that they've finally jumped this hurdle, we might even see some FFA Cup success from them as well, because they've had good runs and stumbled at the final hurdle as well. I feel that they've overcome a mental barrier, and this could be the start of great things for them. So yes, talking to Rick, they celebrated hard Sunday night. It was a big moment for them, and so will they be a little off the boil this weekend? Perhaps. And I think if there's one team to play that you don't want to play against, and it's Wolves. As we've mentioned many times on the show, the longer the season gets, the better they've got. And Matt Chandler, I spoke to him today, inviting him to be on the show, which he was unable to tonight. He, echoed those sentiments. It took him a while to get the squad together, get them playing the way that he wants them to play, but he really likes the squad that he's got and the players that he's got at his disposal, and they're all believing. They're all of the same mind, playing his style, and he's getting great results out of them. So I think it's going to be really tough to pick a result out of this one. But Lliam, you actually convinced me, mate. I think Logan will. They'll have their handbrake off. They'll play freely, and we could see a high-scoring game in this one.
I think.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lliam, you go, mate.
Oh no, I was just gonna reiterate what Darren said. That Wolves, they certainly deserve to be in the top four. They blitzed all before them. That second half of the season, which I think surprised a lot of people, considering where they were pre-COVID break. So so they should hold their heads pretty high that they are where they are. They've played some great football.
Dan, obviously Logan quite dominant this season in some aspects of the competition. I think it's pretty clear what some of us think about it on this call. But for yourself, you're the man who has to deal with these situations. If you lock your place into the final, who would you prefer to be taking on?
Yeah. Honestly, no preference. Whoever wins, it's cliche, but whoever wins. I mean, it'd be a fairy tale to have us and Wynnum in the final, but it could easily be Logan Thunder as well. I mean, I think it's probably fair to say that the best four teams finished in the top four. We didn't lose that much. I mean, we lost 4 games all year. Wolves were probably one of the strongest sides in the second part of the season. Rosedale finished well, but I think that how it's finished is probably how it's deserved. And any of us who make the final, as I said, it's a different ball game. So, we'll be playing very different this Saturday to what we did 3 Sundays ago, because we had quite a good feeling that we were going to be in this situation. So, who knows? Who knows? I don't mind who we play. If we're in the final, the rest is up to the boys.
Absolutely. And obviously the FQPL, I think it's probably the most exciting comp getting around these days. As you said, 4 best teams finished 4th, I think. And it's probably hard for Lliam to hear that, seeing the two teams out west finishing 5th and 6th.
Oh, no, Joe, look, the way I look at it is that, Knights and Pride finished 6th and 7th. But, I mean, they gave some of those teams a pretty good run. Like we beat Logan and we beat Toowoomba. Of course, I'm talking about Pride. And Knights as well can take away some pretty good wins over the last season. So just that we weren't consistent enough and we were too injury ridden, especially with Pride, and Knights had a couple of players leave. So, look, it is what it is. If you got a bunch of blokes that are injured, you're never going to perform at the top level. So, but the top 4 deserve to be where they are. So, look, there's certainly no animosity from me anyway, because to finish where we did, the two Ipswich teams, it pretty much the table speaks for itself. Really, it is what it is. Then that's where they should be. Personally,
you're one of the nicest guys in Queensland football, Lliam.
Well,
so much negativity
we've seen anyway for that one.
But mate, you're always a ray of sunlight and always very modest about your comments.
Oh, thank you, Joey.
Oh, anytime, mate. Need some positivity in this year. Moving on to the other fixture, of course. I think this is where we'll get your expertise. Daniel, obviously, second time this year, unfortunately, you got to travel up to the range. That's 5 p.m. in Toowoomba at Clive Berghofer Stadium. What are your thoughts coming into this? Are you positive? I think, for myself, one of the statistics we have a look at, and it's been a bit unlucky for yourself, obviously such a good squad, such a good club this year, but picking up the most draws in the competition. I think you've finished drawing 6 games more than any other team on the table. Finals, obviously, this isn't an option. Do you think that favours your team?
Oh, look, realistically, we drew 4 games against the bottom 3 teams, if they were in wins, we probably would have, I think, been playing that last game for a spot against us. That's the reality of it. We lost the points we drew with Souths twice in high-scoring games. We drew with Southside Eagles and we drew with Holland Park. So for us, generally, yes, we haven't beaten Thunder, but we've competed against the top teams pretty well. We tested a few different things out against Logan and Thunder previously because, look at the Logan game, whether we won or lost, we were going to finish third. So we had to be competitive, but it's all really about the finals now. So we learnt a lot from the last game there, and we've gone through all the footage, and we're pretty confident that that we can come out and do the job against Thunder at their ground. It'll be a different story to the last game. Let's say that.
Oh, I can understand that completely. Do you think, obviously, with your personnel, you got a pretty good squad? I think, the thing I appreciate seeing yours, you got obviously people like, I believe, Carter Glockner, Mangotti, as well as I think you picked up Easy from Ipswich Knights at the beginning of the year. Do you think these boys are going to step up and obviously help you deliver? A lot of good experience there?
Oh, 100%. That's what we've spoken about this week, is for big matches, the big players put their hands up, and we've got a lot of NPL experience in the group. Yes, we're young, but we've got guys who have won stuff before. We've got guys like Leggett who have won promotion. We've got guys like Carter who've, won stuff with Lions as well. Mustafa and, a lot of the boys have won championships, even in the NPL 20s with City. So it's that winning feeling. We've got got there before. I've been in the NPL final as well with City before. So, it's a different, like we've said, it's a completely different preparation, and it could take 120 minutes, but it's, a draw. You can't play for a draw, and goal difference doesn't matter. So it's a different ball game this weekend.
Darren, what are your thoughts? Obviously, you see a bit of work in terms of the Southwest Queensland area of the region. What are your feelings on this? Do you think maybe Southwest might be licking their wounds after Logan snapping that final match day victory to become champions of the FQPL?
I know that they'll be disappointed, but that'll also steal them as well. They've had such a great year. Maybe they did choke at the end, Maybe they were the ones that let things slip because they were in front, it needs to be remembered. So perhaps this is their opportunity to actually get something out of the year and get themselves a little piece of silverware. Just want to bring up a little point that Lliam brought up before about Western Pride and the Knights. I just had a quick look at the squad lists before. Interesting that Logan and Southwest Queensland Thunder only used 26 players for the whole season. Mitchelton and Wolves both had 31 in their squads. And I'm sure that Western Pride and Ipswich Knights will have a list just as long, if not longer. So the players that have left, I know, Daniel, you've lost a few great players during the season to other clubs. Logan and the Thunder have been able to maintain that stability, which is just so important going through a campaign.
I think our stats man, Gary McKenzie. I don't know if you know Gary at all, but I think Pride went through about 40 players. I think this season, and I think we finished up with a lot of our under 20s, with a lot of our under 20s and under 18s, purely because we had no choice in the end there. So, when you got the likes of Neil Brown and Killian, two strong midfielders there, and we lost them towards the back end of the season there, just through injury. So, just going back to those squads. If you can keep a squad together and keep it as low as rotation as those top teams did, it's always going to play in your favour. That goes without saying, So, congrats to your boys, to all the top four teams for keeping their squads fit and injury free. I don't know how much of it's luck. I don't know, but that's what wins matches, doesn't it? Consistency and consistent players.
Well, it's a lot harder to entice a player away from your club when either A, they're on the range, or B, they're on a team that's fighting for the title. You're less likely to want to leave unless you're getting a really big offer.
Yep, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
On that thought, boys,
what's that smirk for, Darren? You got a smirk there, pal.
Oh, I'm smiling because Daniel's smiling.
do we have something to add?
Do we know something? Do you know something we don't there, Darren? It's a bit cheeky there.
No, just say that COVID, a lot of clubs financially, so that'll be very interesting. That's a reason why some players choose to move as well.
Yeah.
Let's just leave it at that.
It's interesting transfer year, absolutely, across all leagues. I think
and upwards.
There's been a lot of chat about it. I think next year it might be a great equaliser, and we'll see a few teams humbled in terms of transfers and the possibilities of who they can hold on to or who they need to find a new home for. Obviously, do we think, boys, having a look through, I might ask you all each your own opinion. The FQPL is really good competition. Last year, obviously, we saw Rochdale and Sunny Coast play each other, and Rochdale actually pick it up. I think they were the lowest ranked team in the final series. Do we think it's going to be possibly the top two teams in the final, or are we going to have a mix-up? What are our thoughts? Liam, what do you believe, mate?
Well, I think
Thunder.
I think if anyone can get Southwest, it is going to be Mitchelton. At Southwest at home, though, I'm not quite sure what their wins are like. It's actually in Toowoomba, Southwest, but yeah. Look, oh geez, you put me on the spot. Look, having Dan, he's
we've lost one game. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I'm gonna. You know what? I will say Mitchie for the upset, and Logan over Wolves. So I think it'll be a Logan Mitchelton final. I don't know. Southwest. Look, they have shown their hand a few times this season, and Dan, if you and your team have done your homework right, you can. I reckon that you can do Southwest. I think it'll be a tough match. I think it'll be a high scoring game, to be honest. So I'm going to go with 3-2 to Mitchie.
Darren, your thoughts? Who do you think will make it through to the next round?
Look, I think
Be polite.
Wolves are more capable of an upset than perhaps Mitchelton. But you know, we've got the genius Mr. Pennisi here on board. He's already shown that he's kept a few things in his locker for this game. So, you know, if the Thunder can deal with that, then you know, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I like Wolves. I think they're brewing something really good at the back end of the season. I think they might come away with a win in extra time.
In extra time.
Oh, I forgot about extra time. Oh, of course.
Extra time and penalties, the drama.
Oh, I still think 3-2 Mitchie. I was going to say something, but I forgot. Just as I'm about to say it, it escaped me. I'm sorry. That's embarrassing.
Dan, obviously, do you have any thoughts? Obviously, wrapping up the season, I think it's been a crazy year and we're not far from finishing up. What are your thoughts?
Oh, as I said, in finishing, I mean, I think the expectation, probably the underachievers this year and next year, I'm sure they'll be way up there. Will be Rochdale. On paper, they probably had the strongest squad along with Logan and Thunder. So, but as I said to you previously, I think the top four teams deserve to be there. And you know, with Wolves and ourselves have both competed with the top teams. You know, so. Let's just see what happens. Either way, you know, you're going to have a good final, whether it's Wolves versus Mitchelton, Wolves versus Toowoomba, or Logan versus either of those. It's still going to be great next Friday night. Whoever it is, it's going to be an epic final, that's for sure.
Absolutely. I think for myself, being obviously the neutral in all these conversations, 4 great clubs, 4 great teams that, interestingly enough, have 4 different ways to success, in my opinion. You have a look, they're all very interesting playing styles, but they've all worked for them at different times in the season. So I think if we recap, of course, having a look, you've got your own game. I think that kicks off earlier at 5 p.m. on Saturday. That's up at Toowoomba. So if anyone is up Toowoomba way or wants a nice day trip, I think that'd be a great game to go check out on Saturday. And obviously that other game that we were talking about, the Logan versus Wolves game, that'll be Saturday at 6:30 at Cornubia in Logan. So at Logan's main home field. once again, guys, I want to thank you for joining us. We might wrap it up there. I'd like to obviously thank Look Finance for supporting the SEQFC preview show with thanks to Vilic Law. I don't always get that one as smooth as possible. I might get it next week in finals, but I'll get there eventually. Daniel, thank you again and good luck for the weekend.
Yes, good luck, Dan.
Welcome. Thank you very much.
I might try and get up there myself. I might try and get up there myself on Saturday night. Depends.
We'll pick you up on the bus, but they're going to be bus up there. So
yeah, cheers, man.
Pick you up on the way.
Well, as long as Party Central on the way back, that'd be all right. Yeah, I'll just see what I got on Saturday, but I'll see if I can get up there.
Lliam as well. Once again, thank you for joining us, mate.
Thanks, Joey. Good to see you, Darren. Good to see you again, Dan.
Absolutely special treat for us tonight. It's like we've got two guests. Darren, thank you as well for joining us, and thank you for your fantastic interview skills. It's always great to have you on board.
Thank you very much, Joey.
Thank you, gents, and obviously enjoy your weekend of football. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.